Hello, I'm Diane Stothard, and this is Good News on Tap for the second Sunday of Lent. Today is often referred to as Transfiguration Sunday because regardless of which gospel we are reading from, Luke, Matthew, or Mark, the story on the second Sunday of Lent is always about the transfiguration of Jesus. Jesus is transformed into something that the gospel writers can hardly articulate. Mark says his face became like the sun, and his garments became as white as light. Matthew says his garments were glistening, whiter than any bleach could make them. And Luke says his face was altered, and his garments became dazzling white. They struggle to describe the amazing vision that they saw. Many scholars believe that the Transfiguration might actually describe what Jesus looked like after he rose from the dead, but it has been inserted into the gospel story here as a literary device to keep the reader tuned into who Jesus really was even before his resurrection. He was God. In fact, in Mark's gospel, the Transfiguration is exactly in the middle of the gospel. It is the pinnacle, or the fulcrum, if you will, upon which the Mark story turns. Last year, my reflection on this story was to see this as a mountaintop experience, one of those experiences we have of encountering God in a palpable way, and then what we do with that experience. This year, however, the gospel story is paired with the story of the covenant between the Lord God of Israel and Abram. God enters into a covenant, a sacred agreement, a sacred relationship with Abram. As an outward sign of this sacred relationship, God changes Abram's name to Abraham. The author of Genesis is telling us that Abram is forever changed by this new relationship with God. Abram has been transformed. I think that is what the liturgy is teaching us today. At our baptism, we enter into covenant, into a sacred relationship with God. At our confirmation, we choose a confirmation name as a sign that we, like Abraham, are forever transformed by this covenantal relationship with God. Every year during Lent, we have the opportunity to evaluate our covenant with God and to renew it. If we do, the expectation is that we too will be transfigured as Jesus was transfigured on the mountaintop, both now in our earthly life and at our own resurrection from the dead. On Easter Sunday, when we renew our baptismal vows, we will shine like the sun. We will glisten. We will be dazzling white. We will be transformed. And that's Good News on Tap for the second Sunday of Lent.